Hello, welcome to this lecture video. I'm teacher Melai and let's talk about epidemiologic approach. What is epidemiologic approach? So this is another way of asking the question, what are the tasks or what are the things that epidemiologists do? So first, epidemiologists count. So what do they count? They count for the number of cases. So it can be described in terms of time, places, or even person. And then they divide. So they have to choose for the appropriate and correct denominator, that is, of course, the whole population, so that they will be able to compute for the correct rate. And then, lastly, epidemiologists compare, which means for them to determine the determinant or the factors, possible factors that might influence now the health issue or health concerns that they wanted to study, they have to compare the rate that they have computed in the first approach discussed for them now um, to determine for the possible determinants. And what are the processes that are involved in doing epidemiology task? So first, they have to define the case or by doing case definition, followed by collecting information so they can conduct a national surveillance to do that. And then after that, they can already make use of descriptive epidemiology by computing the rate. So they have to consider, as mentioned, the correct denominator. And lastly, analytical epidemiology to compare now for them also, not just to describe the distribution, but also to determine the possible determinants. So let us talk about more about case definition. So what is case definition? This is a set of standard criteria for classifying whether a person has a particular disease, syndrome, or other health condition. So this is an example of a case description for listeriosis. So what do you need to place in the table or in your report if you are coming up with a case definition? So you have to place there the clinical description, the laboratory criteria for diagnosis, and also for case classification. So this is another example. Okay, so for the criteria in case definition, so as you observe here, we have the case definition part. So in this example, it is confirmed, which means a case that meets the clinical case description. And also, for this example, it is also confirmed, a clinical compatible cases that is laboratory confirmed. So we actually have criteria in case definition. So it can be suspected, probable, or confirmed case. For suspected or probable, it might be that they are experiencing the symptoms. However, they need to wait for the laboratory result that states that they are really positive with that disease. So that's the time that they become confirmed case. So this is an example for showing now case classification for suspected, probable, and confirmed. So we have here descriptions, an example for measles. So any febrile illness accompanied by rash. So they are just suspected. Probable, so a case that meets the clinical case definition, has non-contributory or non-serologic or virologic testing, and it is not epidemiologically linked to a confirmed case. And while if it is confirmed, a case that is laboratory confirmed. And there are also instances that there is a modification in case this definition. So just like the definition, for instance, of SARS, so the first case definition for SARS based on clinical symptoms and either contact with a case or travel to an area with SARS transmission. So that is in March 21, 2003. So after 27, 2 weeks later, it was modified slightly because they learned that it is related with the novel coronavirus. And then by June, so still there are several definitions or modifications done in the definition. And in anticipation of a new wave of cases in 2004, again, a revised and much more complex definition was published in December 2003. So how about variation in case? So when you are providing or you are asked as epidemiologists to provide definition of a case, so we actually have two types of definition. We have what we call the loose and the one is the strict. So it depends on the purpose. So for example, so if a health official just need the definition in the rush, then you might consider a loose definition in a way that, for example, a case of definition for a suspected case of rubella or German measles. So it is any generalized rash illness of acute onset. So if you're going to give this definition, this is very broad that it might lead to other rash or other diseases or cases that has something to do with rashes. So it gives parang it's a broad definition. While for specific or strict case definition, so here since usually if we are already talking about outbreak or even in pandemic, so they have to come up with a very strict case definition or a specific definition wherein they just need, for example, to describe the source of the infections if and they of course need only to include those who or rather who were confirmed to have been infected with that organism. So that is all for this video. Thank you for watching.